my misrespect. I also like the fact that, by the way, spoiler alert on all this. In case you didn't know already, spoiler alert on freaking everything. I also like that in the Battle of Five Armies, Bilbo gets smacked on the head with a rock. It is a rock, isn't it? And well, he gets knocked out one way or the other, and misses like the latter section of the battle, however long that is. I like that. I like this notion because like the battle is chaotic enough that you can't depend on being awake through the whole thing, and certainly not on having a bird's eye view of whatever's going on. I'm sure the eagles would. You know, crap is going on, crap is going on, crap is going on. Eventually, it slowly wakes up. Yeah. And oh, the battle's over. Oh, yeah. Oh. I wonder what exactly Bilbo's personality should be. I mean, the whole idea of he's a hobbit. He's all, you know, comfortable with his little hobbit hole and just dragged off on this adventure and stuff. I don't know about that, no. I keep playing up to irony when I do these things in my head, as I did just now with, the battle's over. I don't know if Bilbo would talk exactly like that. So these things have to be relatively small. You know, and the spiders that get them are not nearly as big as Shelob. So you get to Return of the King, and you're like, oh, that's a freaking giant spider. Oh, those other ones, they should be like maybe this big. Oh, that's a big spider. It's not Shelob, though. But something someone says, you know, we should keep the humor in The Hobbit. Yeah, I can see that. I think a lot of potential about the dwarves. 13 dwarves. And somehow you got to get the actors to really know each other well, really know their characters, because I want them to be able to banter, like fluently, like just like half of it could be improvisation, you know. And of course the important things will get scripted. But I think there'd be cool moments, which probably happens in Lord of the Rings, where like someone says something and then like suddenly all 13 of them are talking at once, like bickering, and then Thorin has to like pound his fist or something. To get them all to listen up there. I think they're really cool. There's some songs in The Hobbit. I think, yeah, you know, it'd be cool to keep at least some of those. I think what's almost the weirdest thing for me is the elves all singing at like Rivendell and such. Like tra la 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 tra la in the valley da 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 da. I'm like, you know, my only impression of the elves comes from like Lord Elrond and Legolas, and none of them ever went tra-la-la-la-la. Maybe we'll have like that in the background, like this music, you know, but we don't like big focus on like what's apparently a very merry parade going on. And it's like, but some of the songs would be cool. Bilbo being bewildered all the time, definitely cool. When he wakes up that morning after the unexpected party, and he thinks they've all gone, and then Gandalf's there, and just like, "What are you doing? Go! There's something enough with you." And he's like, "What? A handkerchief? No!" Del Toro was talking about the theme of loss of innocence. I'd say, yeah, that's a theme to go with, but I can see how you could take that too far. I like how, the contrast is useful. We set up this adventure, which is big and grand enough for old Bilbo. But we set up a sense, not so much in The Hobbit, but in the Bridge film, that there's more out there. Like, you thought that was big? And we get to have a little thing in The Hobbit, you know, maybe Elrond and Gandalf are talking when they're at Rivendell. Things like that. Now, what should this bridge film be about? Well, I've come up with the idea. I think it should be Gandalf-centric. And working title, The Journeys of Gandalf the Grey, something like that. Here's the idea. It's less of a driving plot than any of the other movies. That is, in The Hobbit, where are we going? We're going to the mountain. We're going to go get our gold back. and come back home. Lord of the Rings, obviously, we're going to a much different mountain, Mount Doom, which, by the way, I saw in the in The Hobbit. There's like an illustration of the mountain, and it basically slopes up into a big mountain. And I'm like, that's kind of Mount Doom shaped. What I would do, I think I'd do like a much more vertical, like craggly mountain, and one little like spike of mountain sticking up there. Like more like this. Yeah, my hands are not shaped themselves to a mountain very well, but like just. And then, for one thing, it's very different shape than Mount Doom. And secondly, it's like there's all this negative space around the mountain itself, which makes it look rather lonely. It's just like there's just this land, and then there's a mountain. Not as tall as Mount Doom, you understand, but just more vertical for considering its width. That's my notion, anyway. The original, so if we call it, I was saying Journeys of Gandalf the Grey. Would be not as driving. It's call it the wide shot for Middle Earth. This is our wide. This is where it is. Okay, Middle Earth. Get a sense of it before crap starts happening. There's several things we want to accomplish. We want to be like, we want to explain a lot of things, which it's hard to weave this in without making it boring. We want to 1, explain the rings. 2, explain the elves. 3, explain the eagles. 4, explain the wizards. Possibly 5, explain some other thing. I don't know. The rings, for instance. This would be a perfect time for someone to quote the full Rings poem, which is one thing Lord of the Rings is missing. 9 for mortal men doomed to die. 1 for the Dark Lord pays the Dark Throne. And then the last part of it is comes up in Fellowship. Someone could do the whole thing. Who could do that? How about Saruman? Let's say with Gandalf. Is that he's involved with all these other important people. You can have him having a meeting with Elrond, meeting with Saruman, there's a whole White Council thing. I wonder how much J.R.R. Tolkien knew of these things in advance, because he writes in The Hobbit what Gandalf had been doing. He had a council with the White Wizards, and it's plural. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought there was one White Wizard, and then there's our Grey Wizard, and then there's 3 other wizards that never did anything useful. This is how it works, right? Isn't it the Valar, or whatever, sent these Maya spirits down in the shape of human flesh, 5 wizards. 2 of them had any impact on Middle-earth, and only 1 of them ended up being a good guy. Because there was, let's see, Radagast, who was like the hippie wizard, in that he decided not to much fight, do anything regarding the war, and instead spent his time talking to the birds. And then there was like those 2 twin or brother blue wizards, whatever they're called. They went off to the east and no one ever heard from them again. Good job, guys. And then there was Saruman the Wise, who ended up turning evil. And then Gandalf works it all out, but like, you gotta imagine the Valar just being like, what the heck, guys? So Gandalf, though, I imagine this as, almost a series of vignettes. Vignette, is that how you pronounce it? Things that are almost unconnected. Gandalf is just journeying, and he goes from here to there, and we see like random little things, bits and pieces of things that we may or may not see in Lord of the Rings. Now we shouldn't tip our hand, as it were. I don't want to be like, he goes to like Bree, and then he goes to this mountain, and then I guess he has to skip Moria, and then but then he goes to Rivendell, and the thing, and like let's just follow the exact path of it. No. I love the idea of visiting other places. Spending a lot of time just sort of in the wild, just like traveling from here to there. Does Gandalf keep a journal? Because that could be useful if he did. You could have a little voiceover, it says, in the year 2157 or whatever it is. I met with the elves of so and so, and we did something of interest. I don't know.